Today's September 22nd, 2025. It's about 3 o'clock. And another important journal entry because, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to put important stuff now, like in my journal entries, because I don't really even want to do them. But it seems like now, after I've started the practice of kind of keeping a journal, that it feels like I'd be remiss if I didn't actually make a journal entry on this. And this is because of the Charlie Kirk's killing. And well, let me just think about something else. But Charlie Kirk's killing, and I was talking yesterday about lies. And the bottom line for me is like, I kind of have a belief that the truth is gonna decide. The truth is gonna decide. I cannot believe in a universe or anything in like a macrocosm kind of level, as opposed to a microcosm. Talking about like the big picture, if there is a big picture, and that's what you always have to come to the consideration of, is whether or not you're going to think that there's a big picture. It needs to be developed, or it needs to be understood, or something like that. But I don't know how you could do it on a scenario or a situation or a simulation or any kind of thing based on lies. And I was talking about lies yesterday. Snuffing the lies, or lie snuffers. Because some people snuff out your life. And they'll do it with a lie. So look, the thing about Charlie Kirk is, the FBI kind of took over, and all the public stuff is coming like from the FBI unless you really look. And the FBI proved early on that they didn't know shit from apple butter about Utah, or what was going on in Utah, or anything like that. They just kind of swooped in and then all of a sudden said they did a job. But the fact of the matter is that was the first lie. That's a guy, Tyler Robinson. His dad said to him, that looks like you on that video. And he said it was him. And then his dad, talked to the pastor, and then the pastor reported it. So, it's kind of like he turned himself in because he did want to kill himself. He said he'd rather kill himself than turn himself in. That's what he supposedly said. Okay, now that's just what's been reported. Like, we don't see him, saying this live or anything like that. So, the first thing is, most of the stuff that is like on the corporate kind of media, like the giants and stuff, they're just taking talking points from, right now, basically the White House is kind of in charge. All right, as far as the talking points go. And get a little hot. And but anyway, about the Charlie Kirk thing, he got the way he got shot. Okay, everything that they showed so far, like I remember hearing this one guy talk in the podcast. I think it's called Secular Talk. He was showing how things don't add up because he gathered all the pictures and everything like that. And he said, just don't make it. Their storyline don't even make any sense. Taken apart, the gun and putting the gun back together and all this kind of stuff. And now he said he didn't make any sense, all right? And then I heard another person talking about the same thing. I don't remember who that was, but I've only heard that like a couple of times. But they showed documentation, see? So that's how I know that it's real and true. And now this guy here, he's showing how he's got the bullet in motion. I don't know, maybe caught with somebody's cell phone camera or something like that. I don't know where the video came from, but you know, he's showing it, and he's showing Charlie Kirk get shot, and he's saying that he got shot from behind. And so the others that conflicts with you know, the angle that they said he got shot from before. And there seems to be maybe even like another person. And there's a lot of talk about you know, Charlie Kirk's most recent kind of conflicts coming with Israel, because he was against Israel's mission to wipe out Gaza, wipe out the Palestinian. Like I say, there's never going to be a Palestinian state. That's what Israel says. Never going to be a Palestinian state ever. There's Palestinian people are, you know, kind of like the Indians. They're their own nation. You know, like the Indians, the Indian nation. Okay. There's a group of people. They don't even. They got their land taken away from them. Okay, it's a Palestinian people, the nation of Palestine. Israel, well, Netanyahu says never going to happen. That they're going to actually be able to be a nation like Israel. Okay, all right. And Charlie Kirk, even though he's a bad guy, I mean, like, look, early on, man, he made like a hit list, or a hate. I don't know if it was a hit list. I think it's called a hit list or a hate list. But there's a list of people that he didn't like. And then he said went against the whole group of basically, like, you know, white supremacy. That's basically what he is a white supremacist. And he said that, I mean, he put these people up there, and then these people, like, I don't know, it might have been like, it became a big list. It was in the news a long time ago and stuff. Heather Cox Richardson, I heard her talking about how she was put on the list. Okay. And she's a good historian. And I don't know, I think she's a professor. And plus, she's a good political thinker and a historian and all that. Anyway, I just want to show you this, okay? Because, see, I'm talking about lies. All right? And now, this is what this guy says. I might have to, and I'm concerned about. I'm just gonna I'm gonna have to, hang on a second. Okay, I got a place I'm gonna start it on, and that is right here. I had to just, and he says in preface to this, I'm gonna play a short bit of it. He says in preface to this that he doesn't want to believe that the FBI is lying about this or missed this. You know, but the FBI, I'm just saying, like I said already before, you know, they came on the scene like a bunch of fumbling idiots, man. And then Kash Patel, leader of the FBI, you know, he said that we got the guy or something. They didn't have the guy, you know, all kinds of stuff. Just proving that he just wanted to make a media post. And it's not the way it used to be. Standard procedure. I heard somebody, I was thinking about this right before. Standard procedure. I think it's called standard procedure or standard order or something like that. I think it might have been even John McCain, a Republican, you know, was the one that said that we got to get back to, and I can't remember the exact term, but it was like standard procedure, standard order, but it's actually, you know, standing on the truth and not just making up bullshit as a tactic of war and saying that it's okay, all fair is in love and war, okay? Because that's what they're saying now. I mean, it used to not be that way. Now they're saying you can go ahead and lie. It's permissible in war. And that would be Sun Tzu. But, anyway, so he says here, and this is Range Day Bro. So that's the first time I've ever seen this podcast. That's what it is. But I'm going to just show it to you.
It's a very heavy topic. I do not want to believe that this is possible, that the FBI either knowingly or unknowingly missed this. And I'll leave that up for you guys to speculate on. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. All I know is that 100% Charlie was not shot from the front. It is very clear that he was shot from the side, most likely by this bush up here, this man in the bush, whatever you want to call him. It has been very clear to me that there has been a lot of NPCs, a lot of people going after me and others who are trying to seek out the truth. And it's so important to not let them silence your voice. For Charlie, for this country, really, for the Constitution, for everything that we stand for freedom, it is imperative that we continue to ask questions and seek the truth when we're so clearly being lied to. So I really appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me over the last week. And
all right. See, that's what I'm saying. Clearly being lied to. Clearly being lied to. Well, that led me to another deeper thought that I wanted to annotate in my journal. And for you, my grandchildren, I would, like, if I could ever have the opportunity to tell you something, I would want to tell you this. All right. You know, this is the way you got to look at it. This is the way I look at it anyway. If this life is a simulation, okay, you know, then why? And you have to just enter this whole context of the suggestion that, like, life is like a simulation. Okay, because there's a lot of evidence to kind of prove that it is like a simulation, all the way from science today, and real stuff, and philosophy and theory, and early thinking from early on, like the very first kind of documentations of the human race. Okay, talking about, you know, something like this is like a microcosm for the macrocosm. Okay, everything teaches us that we're only a small cog in the big thing, of things, like that. But the point is that your life matters, and what you do matters, and the positions you take matter, and that's why, you know, I'm thinking, like, okay, it's got to be some kind of simulation. How can it matter if it's not a simulation for something, if it doesn't work into something somehow, our lives? Well, you can either think, you know, that nothing matters, and then, you know, you can become a hedonist, not just a person only seeking pleasure, or you can become a monster. It don't matter. Maybe you got a bent toward, you know, power and domination of other people and stuff. And there's people that are categorized, like Trump is actually categorized, you know, by professionals as a certain kind of narcissist. I think it's a certain kind of narcissist that they call it, like well, they modify it with some other word. I can't remember what that word is, but that means that it cannot be cured. Okay. At least that's the way I understand it. And see, he's very a liar, a bully, and all that. And who he is, that's who the whole Congress on the Republican side, you know, that's who they're cowing to, and that's what they have to do. And they have to lie for the president. They got to put out propaganda, and now they got to make sure everything he does looks good in public media. Otherwise, it's a crime. That's what it's coming down to, and that's a fact. You can tell the date that I just put on here, and if you can look up anything that's happening or being broadcasted at this time, and do an objective survey, and you'll know that I'm telling you the exact God's honest truth. And where I'm looking at it, it's like I always think about like what I'm going to put on my sign and stuff. But now I know that I'm going to make it actually a climbing wall, and on the other side of the climbing wall, I just, put stuff up there for a sign. But like on my sign, I'm thinking, because I'm thinking about both of them. Now I have a lot of easier thought, I don't have to be just a sign, I make a climbing wall. And then just put a sign work on the other side of it. But it's an overwhelming kind of time. Because for me, it's kind of like my sign, I'm thinking, Trump is playing Hitler. I was going to put it another way. Trump is doing a Hitler. Yeah, that's how it happened. And when Hitler rose to power, Germany was a lot like America. They had 2 different parties, or maybe 3, I don't know. But Hitler made it one party. Hitler took control. But, they were fertile for the moment, okay? But now, it's like we're kind of fertile for the moment. And the way that it's working out is, this Project 2025, dividing America from within. Now it seems like Donald Trump is wanting to start wars. He's starting wars within society, and he's starting war abroad. He's isolating America, and because he wants destruction that he can manage, but he's got the whole military and everything at his fingertips, and that's what the deal is. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, if this is a simulation, why, if this is a simulation, then why they have to put lies into the simulation? Okay, why? So this is my main point. Why, if it is a simulation, I'm saying, okay, if it is a simulation of some type, and we're being tested somehow, okay, then why do they have to interject lies into the situation? Why can't it be just, I don't know, good and evil, or... Okay, well, I guess the reason is because it's truth and lie. It must be an important thing. And it seems that the whole situation is boiling down to an analysis about truth and lies. Oh. That's what I wanted to document. That's the realization that I actually came to today. The truth. Why do we have to have lies in the simulation and like this? Or, but okay, but the reason is because that's what's being analyzed. Obviously. Because if you're testing courage or love or any of the positive virtues, even like long suffering, patience, any of that, you can do all that without lies. You don't have to have lies to do that. But when you inject lies into something, it becomes like a double-edged sword. Okay? A double-edged sword, it cuts on both sides. Right? Alright? Like, truth is a double-edged sword. It can cut through lies. Okay, that's what I always think. But sometimes, man, lies win. And that was really the point of my last one. Sometimes, lies win. And that presents a real problem. That's why when I was in graduate school studying theology, I was most interested in theodicy, and that is the conflict between good and evil. Like, how can there be evil if God is good? Anyway, it's all a simulation. And I understand now. Lies will make you suffer, and don't be a committer of lies. It'll backfire on you. And I think it's going to backfire on Trump and his whole regime. It did on Hitler. I still hope we don't have to go through a whole lot of hell to get to the other side in my lifetime. And for you, my grandchildren, I know you're going to live longer than me, because I'm like at least probably 50 years older than you or something. But I don't know, I think I'm even older than that. Anyway, I don't even remember really, actually. No. I have to figure it out. But I love you. Don't be a committer of lies. That's all I'm saying. Don't commit lies. Because if it is a simulation of some type, when they separate the gold from the dirt, if you commit lies, you're dirt. That's all you are. You're only the soil out of which the gold grew, or something like that, or the ocean, or wherever it comes from, the river, I don't know. Wherever gold comes from. I know they used to get it out of streams and water. When they used to be gold miners and stuff like that, out of the ground. But, what I'm saying is, if you're a committer of lies, you'll be separated like dirt. Truth is a double-edged sword. It's a blind lady with the scales. All right.